Hey there, it's BitB, and welcome out to another BitB stream. Thanks for coming out. It is Saturday, and I'm playing a little bit more Ace Attorney Investigations Prosecutor's Path. So, sorry that I had to end the last one a little bit prematurely, but yeah, if we had another hour and a half to be playing the stream, I don't think I would have made it. Because at the time, I was, 1, really tired, 2, really hungry. But that's not the case today. I am very much awake. I am full of food at this point. I've also had caffeine, and will have caffeine during the stream. It's a shame that the stream is probably going to last an hour and a half. Yeah, right. But again, I think it's just, for the sake of the quality and for me being able to concentrate on the game, I think it's a good thing. But anyway, so the last time that I played Ace Attorney, we had discovered that Gustavia is likely the murderer in the case 18 years ago. Which, that should be interesting, finding out what the, what the motives are involved with that. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the heck that's all about. So let's move over to the Games tab and begin this nonsense. There we go. There we are. And this is the 4th mission, am I correct? And there's usually 5. And part 3. Hopefully there isn't a part 4. I have no clue. But I will certainly see. April 2nd, 3:11 p.m. Zodiac Art Gallery, Fountain Patio. Miss Hall, have you composed yourself? Hopefully. She was very sad before. Yes. What you did, no matter the reason, was unforgivable. Yes, I know. However, you committed this crime in order to prove Mr. Master's innocence. If the true culprit is someone else, we have a duty to reinvestigate. Oh, really? Apparently the law says no. No false evidence from the IS-7 incident remains in the official case files. Moreover, there is no evidence to lend credence to Miss Hall's testimony. We should first arrest Miss Hall as the culprit behind today's incident, not innocence. We cannot be certain that all the case files are accurate. After all, the prosecutor in the case has a history of, forging evidence. It's not like he was my mentor, just forget that part. Are you suggesting that the PIC overlooked such a prosecutor? Yes! That's none of my concern. The truth is that evidence was falsified. Achtung, baby. Hello, Mario. And the fact that Dova's body from 18 years ago was just discovered proves it. Shit! Yeah, it's kind of weird having a corpse show up 18 years later. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I can see remnants of Prosecutor Von Karma within you. What did you say? You try to deceive the PIC and fabricate the truth. Let me inform you of my, or rather, the PIC's logic. So, you admit that you had a prosecutor that was forging evidence. Okay. Well, he worked on this case before. Come on. I acknowledge that Prosecutor Von Karma fabricated the information about the body. However, he successfully convicted Mr. Master as an accomplice. I believe the true culprit was Miss Curator herself. She even attempted to murder Mr. Gustavia today in order to pin the blame on him. Is that really what the PIC believes? As corrupt as we are. Yes, every word I utter is for the sake of law and order. It seems she intends to hide the truth for the sake of the PIC. At this rate, neither Mr. Master nor Miss Hull will be saved. But we're smart. That's literally our superpower. I acknowledge that Prosecutor Von Karma fabricated the... If you acknowledge that, why won't you reopen the case? The Goddess of Law does not err in her judgments. While Prosecutor Von Karma may have used underhanded tactics, You know, it's funny how, like, they chose a voice actor that specifically got a deeper voice, and I decided to go for more of, like, a high-pitched New Yorker. So what did you miss? Pretty much nothing. You got here just in time. If you ask me, it's all been bogus ever since Von Karma fabricated evidence. And you claim that justice was served. What is the PIC thinking? I can already declare my verdict. There's no need for further investigation. Let's hear your explanation on the matter, then. Don't forget, Ray said Ray said that is his objection voice. I know that was his objection voice, but I give Ray this voice when the voice actor clearly said, objection. It's like, I chose a little bit wrong in just the pitch. Meaning that he fakes his voice for the objection. Maybe. Either that or it is his voice and he has no reason to fake. However, he successfully convicted Mr. Master as an accomplice. I heard that the biggest factor in Mr. Master's conviction was his confession. If Prosecutor Von Karma had a hand in his confession, the ruling may not be just. The initial investigation was handled by Detective Rip Lacer. He was the one who obtained the confession, according to the official reports. All I can say is that the ruling has already been handed down. Jeez! Why does Miss Courtney have to be so stubborn? Is the PIC so high and mighty? They sure seem like the, arch enemy of prosecutors, to say the least. Pretty much arch enemy of anybody. So they're kind of like what the police are to great thieves. Says the great thief who nonchalantly works alongside the police. Edgeworth didn't recognize the voice. Ray said it was his objection voice. And, oh, really? Dang, when did that happen? I don't remember. Alright. I believe that the true culprit was Miss Curator herself. Case 2. I'll have to go back and look at that. Are you saying that both Miss Hull and Mr. Master murdered Isaac Dover? Mr. Master committed the murder, while Miss Curator moved the body. That's what I believe. What? How can you say that? They would never kill Monsieur Dover. Speak to my gavel. Did you not steal the body and preserve it for 18 years? It is only natural to suspect you of being an accomplice. She has already confessed to her crimes, and now is not the time to judge her of her past crimes. In that case, let's judge Miss Hall for her current crime. She even attempted to murder Mr. Gustavia today in order to pin the blame on him. If she wanted to pin the crime on somebody, why choose Mr. Gustavia? Perhaps Mr. Gustavia suspected Miss Hall was the criminal, as he attempted to confirm whether or not the Gemini sculpture was genuine. He was caught in a trap meant to silence him forever. Can you prove that theory? Mr. Gustavia is currently teetering on the brink of death. There's probably no way to prove it unless he regains consciousness. In other words, there's nothing we can do for now. That can't be true. There must still be something we can do. You still don't get it, do you? Allow me to give you a clearer explanation. We already have ample evidence for both the IS-7 incident and today's poison gas incident. By ample evidence, you mean? For the IS-7 incident, we had a body, the murder weapon, and a pair of suspects. For the poison gas incident, we have the 2 chemicals and Miss Hall's confession. Furthermore, I have finished collecting all the evidence necessary for your own PIC hearing, Prosecutor Edgeworth. What? How can you say something like that so casually? Miles, you know you're always welcome to join the Edgeworth Law Offices. I may have to at this stage. Judge Courtney, I'd like to ask that you refrain from making such needless remarks. I understand. Well, regardless. There's no need to investigate any further. Are you saying that there is nothing left for us to investigate? We have already exhausted all ends in regards to the evidence. This court will accept no further deliberations. I shall now deliver my verdict for the defendant, Catherine Hall. I hereby pronounce you... Stop, ma'am! Hold it!
There's still a need for further investigation.
If you wish to halt my verdict, please do so with evidence. That is, if there's any evidence that requires further deliberation.
I cannot allow this case to end here. There's still something that needs to be cleared up. Looks like I'll have to show Judge Courtney something to convince her.
Maybe just talking about their connection might do something. Perhaps. But no, that's not really a piece of evidence in particular that we need to look further into. Then there's the rock salt lamp. I mean, they probably went over that with a fine-tooth comb. We still have no idea why I mean, I guess we technically could say Delicia maybe made these marks in some capacity. But this is kind of a loose end, because why would anybody... Because she wasn't there to actually get the book, and this frame was framing the book. So somebody went after it that day. So I kind of wonder if maybe this is the loose end. Nope. Okay. Wrong.
Judge Courtney, there's a contradiction in your testimony.
I cannot authorize this statement.
And why not?
Because it's obvious you're bluffing.
Is that the impression I give off? Next time for sure, I'll present evidence that will silence her for good.
Well, let me just test this. Nope.
Don't you have a problem with that statement just now?
Should I have a problem with it?
Exactly, because there's no problem at all.
In that case, you should have refrained from speaking in the first place.
Go. I don't think that left a good impression.
Nuts. Okay. I mean, okay, we did discuss that there was some things that were changed and altered in the IS-7 incident file. So maybe we just need to go back to square one and talk about that. No. Okay. Not quite. I did, I think. I don't know. I don't remember actually presenting the lift trolley. I remember investigating it further, but not actually presenting it. Which I thought about doing, but then I stopped. And I was right to stop, because it's not right. We got a tarping. I mean, I guess we discussed the fact that the tarp was pulled out of the fountain, and then following that was the body. But I'm trying everything under the sun, so why not?
Could you take a look at this piece of evidence?
I'm afraid I cannot accept that piece of evidence. I do not believe it has any relation to my testimony.
Well, good on you, Frost bitch.
How in-depth have we talked about the Angel recipe book? Apparently in-depth enough. Screw it. Gas burner! Why not? Let's just scum my health. Let's see, the gas burner. What about the fluorescent cloth? Nope, we talked about that. I guess the good news is that I don't have a lot of stuff on me right now. I mean, a lot, but... and what about the sketch?
Doug. To come this far, only to lose the truth. But it seems there's nothing I can do now. Thus the truth was lost for all eternity.
And the books are closed. Until I save scum. I haven't shown the family photo yet, have I? That's not right. Oh, well, good for you. Put your gavel away, madam. Would there really be anything to talk about in relation to the rock salt lamp? No, okay, never. Because we've already tested the blood and all that, and we know it was it was the murder weapon. What about the teapot stuff? Ah, shit. Something hasn't been tested. Something hasn't been tested. What the heck was it? Analysis results from the liquid, from the melted Gemini sculpture. You know, one thing... Alright. Perhaps we should be looking further into this liquid. There we go! Got it! Again, we know it's blood, but whose blood is it?
There's still one piece of evidence from the IS-7 incident that remains unsettled. Take a look at this.
This is...
This is the forensics results from the Gemini sculpture that melted in the Winter Palace. According to the results of the analysis, traces of someone's blood were found. Who does this blood belong to? Until we know the answer, this case is still open. There was blood mixed in with the remains of the Gemini sculpture. I heard nothing of this from Sebastian. Well, it's Sebastian. This was a report from Detective Gumshoe. I had planned to tell Mr. DeBest myself. So even though you had no investigating authority, you still did as you pleased. I shall report everything that transpired today to the PIC. I will not avert my eyes from the truth, nor shall I overlook the mistakes of the past. If you wish to report my actions to the PIC, be my guest. But in exchange, I want you to let me investigate this case to the very end. It is not my place to decide such things. I must ask that you check with Sebastian regarding this matter. If we're gonna play, logic chess with Sebastian, I feel like he's going to immediately send a pawn. That, like, one of those moves that, like, you ever seen somebody play chess and, like, they move a piece thinking that haha, there's no way they can beat me. And then suddenly someone snipes the king. That's what I imagine would happen with the best. Hey, good news, you guys! Uh-oh. Thanks to our early detection, Mr. Gustavia's life was saved. Mr. Gustavia! So, he's alive. And still blowing plenty of chocolate bubbles and stuff.
Would you be the ones who saved my life?
Hey, Mr. Gustavia.
You are... Sir Assistant, are you not? You've grown so big, this time. This one is your assistant, then.
Yep.
No, I'm...
He's an assistant candidate, and Gregory Edgeworth's son.
I am Miles Edgeworth, a prosecutor.
What a twist of fate. I am in your debt. It is thanks to you that I have completely recovered.
There's no need for thanks. Since you're alive, we can reach the truth behind the incident 18 years ago.
What do you speak of?
While you were unconscious, the truth has started to come to light. You may be Isaac Dover's murderer.
What? Really? Miss Hall was looking for the criminal behind the events of 18 years ago. That's why she set up the poison gas in the Pisces case. Mr. Gustavia, the events of the incident 18 years ago. Tell us what really happened.
Very stoic.
So you wish to remain silent?
Nah, I think he's just meditating. He can sleep standing up? What a useful skill to have! Mermaid man sleeps with his eyes open.
Meditation is different from sleeping, though.
Mr. Gustavia, please tell us what you did 18 years ago.
I'm the criminal because I fell for the trap? That's not very funny, joke. I am a victim, not a culprit.
Mr. Gustavia, it has not yet been made clear whether or not you are the criminal. This is only their baseless speculation. Do not concern yourself with the drivel of a prosecutor without jurisdiction.
At least there is one person here who understands.
My name is Justine Courtney. I am a judge. If you would like, I would be happy to assist you. Let us show Prosecutor Edgeworth the truth of 18 years ago.
Understood. I shall prove my innocence to you, Sir Prosecutor.
Judge Courtney, is that your answer? Do you intend to bury the truth of the IS-7 incident before it can be brought to light?
I merely believe in the judgments of the Goddess of Law.
Ultimately, those who render judgment are only human. As long as humans control the law, there is no guarantee that every verdict is correct. If you are going to help conceal the truth, I will not hold back. I'm looking forward to it.
Lady Justine, what should I do now?
You are being suspected because you set off the poison gas. Can you tell us the reason why you opened the Pisces case? And I'm sure he's got a crafty little eye.
Understood. I came to see Sir Dover's works from 18 years ago. However, I accidentally entered the museum a half hour before it opened.
Miss Hall, there was nobody at the entrance, correct? Since I thought the criminal from 18 years ago might be coming, I had no security guards in place. I didn't even lock the doors. I was very busy with opening preparations, so there was nobody on the first floor. In addition, I locked every palace door aside from the autumn one. I see. This must have been done in order to lure the criminal to the Autumn Palace. Which is why he ended up entering the Autumn Palace. It's already suspicious that he snuck into the museum in the first place. There was a sign that said no touching, but there was a sign that said
no touching, but I cannot read English.
The gallery should remain silent. Unless you have evidence that can prove his testimony false, I will not allow any objections.
Uh-oh.
Gallery? This isn't even a courtroom! Now then. Why did you open the Pisces case?
I wish to view Sir Dover's handiwork up close. The Gemini sculpture. No, it was actually the Pisces, wasn't it? The lid had been frozen shut, so I borrowed a burner to open it. But as soon as I opened the lid, poison gas began pouring out.
That's quite a convenient testimony. Sounds like a total lie, doesn't it? There are parts of Mr. Gustavia's testimony that I have issues with as well. However, there is no evidence to disprove it. But that's...
Would it not make sense for suspicion to fall on Lady Catherine before myself? She may have intended to release the poison gas haphazardly.
Objection.
Kate turned on the sprinklers as soon as the gas was released. She was specifically targeting the person who triggered the trap. Mr. Gustavia, you were her only target.
You are willing to accept the words of the criminal as the truth?
Miss Hall must atone for her crimes. However, the same can be said for the criminal from 18 years ago.
Sir Prosecutor, it seems you wish to suspect me to the bitter end. However, I had no reason to murder Sir Dover.
Oh, express that to me.
If there is no evidence to suggest that I killed him, you cannot suspect me.
Master Edgeworth, can't you prove that Mr. Gustavia is the criminal?
All we know for sure is that Mr. Gustavia fell victim to the poison gas. No matter how strange his behavior was, it won't prove he committed the murder.
But that's... Mr. Shields, is there nothing we can do?
Well, if there isn't any evidence, we should try reorganizing the facts.
If Mr. Gustavio was the one who killed Mr. Dover, there must have been a motive.
Motive? Mr. Gustavia himself is denying that such a motive exists.
It's not easy to take another person's life. 18 years ago, your old man also discussed motive with Prosecutor Von Karma.
You claim their collaboration is irrelevant? If Mr. Gustavia and Mr. Dover's relationship had turned sour...
18-year-old logic.
It could serve as a motive for murder.
We couldn't talk with Mr. Gustavia 18 years ago, but this time things are different. If we connect everything we've learned so far, the truth might be revealed.
Yes, I suppose so. It seems I must re-examine the information from 18 years ago. I must recall all the details that have remained unexplained.
So, the glove finger marks on the picture frame was your doing?
Delicia denied leaving the finger marks on the frame. If they were left by Mr. Gustavia, he may have been trying to view the angel's recipe.
interesting. Muncho Master asked me to change the film in the camera. It seems the film has prepared in advance wasn't enough.
There wasn't enough film?
It seems the number of photos he took didn't match up with the amount of film remaining. Well, he told me himself it might have been just a mistake, though.
Was it, though?
The information my father collected 18 years ago was certainly not for naught. If there's no evidence, then I shall use logic to reveal the truth.
All right, we got a whole lot of these things and probably some red herrings. But let's think about this. The amount of film in the camera decreased. Did someone use it? Gustavia claims he had no motive for murder. Okay, I assume this is probably like the last one we need to solve, because, like, one of these things is eventually going to point to motive for murder, but... Gustavia helped Dover with his final dessert, but Dover didn't help. Was Gustavia's goal to view the angel's recipe? The amount of film in the camera decreased. Did someone use it? This is interesting stuff. So, partnership turns sour. Motive for murder. I would say he would have motive for murder considering if Dover did not help him during the contest. Maybe. So this might be connectable before I even knew it. Yes!
Mr. Gustavia, you collaborated with the victim Isaac Dover to create your desserts, didn't you?
Oh, it seems you know about my secret.
Mr. Shields told me about it. Mr. Dover handled the design while you were in charge of the taste. Is that correct?
Back then, my training had been insufficient.
It seems you worked together through the semifinals, but not during the finals. Why is that?
We both wished to compete in the finals against Sir Master on our own merits.
You must have also helped with Isaac Dover's dessert even during the finals.
What makes you able to declare something like that?
Didn't you tell Prosecutor Von Kammer about it yourself 18 years ago? That you cooperated until the day before the finals.
The sculptures in Mr. Dover's room were all made out of sherbet. Such an amount would most likely need to be left overnight to freeze, which means Mr. Gustavio prepared Mr. Dover's sherbet in advance the day before. That's right. So you realize Gustavia's cooperation ended the day before the finals. Then why did Mr. Dover not help Mr. Gustavio in return? The views of the dead are no concern to me.
Callous. Why did Isaac Dover not help you in return? If there's a reason why your partnership with Isaac Dover broke down, that would be a motive for murder.
I don't know, that's a pretty dramatic way to end the night, huh?
That could be a possibility. However, Sir Dover and I ended our partnership peacefully.
A peaceful breakup? That's hard to imagine.
Not to mention, it's absurd to think that I killed Sir Dover in Sir Master's room. I couldn't have killed Sir Dover while Sir Master was also there making his desserts.
Huh. Really?
In other words, there was no way I could have committed the murder.
That's not true. If there was a moment when Mr. Master was absent from the room, I could prove it was possible for Mr. Gustavia to commit the murder.
More logic. The timing of Dover's murder. Gustavia could not have murdered Dover while Master was in the room. The amount of film in the camera decreased. Did someone use it? I don't know if that's connecting with anything just yet. Was Gustavia's goal to view the angel's recipe? Gustavia could not have murdered Dover while Master was... Alright. I mean... Clearly, if he is going in to check out the angel's recipe, then it would have to have been at a time where Mr. Master was not in the room. So this little bit here about
the timing of Dover's murder. It had to have happened around the time that, yeah, he wasn't in the room. Gustavia could not have murdered Dover while Master was... Yeah. Well, yeah, but clearly somebody was in there trying to take a snap of the book. So perhaps these two do connect. Not quite. Okay.
Not exactly a shining example of the perfect line of logic.
Right, let me rethink this. The amount of film in the camera decreased. Did someone use it? I wonder if maybe the camera might have been used to take some pictures of the angel's recipe. Which would make a heck of a lot of sense. Aha! See, I was thinking a little bit too complicated there.
If he had photographed the contents of the angel's recipe, he wouldn't need to steal it. Perhaps Mr. Gustavia used Mr. Master's camera to take the pictures.
If he had stolen the actual recipe book, the police would have found out. I see. Pictures, eh?
The problem is the time at which he entered Mr. Master's room.
Mr. Gustavia could have moved around freely during the afternoon tea, right? Because it seems both him and Mr. Dover did not participate in the afternoon tea.
If I remember correctly, the only time we can prove that Dover was still alive is...
The victim was not seen, as he stayed locked up in his room after the contest had begun. The only one who could have unlocked the locked rooms was Jeff Master.
Was Master's dessert all you ate?
Yeah, actually, no. After the afternoon tea, I also ate Icy's desserts. Glutton!
After the contest began, Isaac Dover was locked up in his room. If we assume he was killed at some point before Delicia snuck into his room, then there's a high chance that he was killed before the afternoon tea was over.
And there's only two things left, so... The afternoon tea. Dover and Gustavia did not participate in the afternoon tea. Gustavia could not have murdered Dover. Sorry. Both of you were missing. I'd call that a window.
Isaac Dover was alive up until the afternoon tea began. Ergo, that is the only time when Gustavia could have killed Dover.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you satisfied?
Sorry, but I am far from satisfied. Because I am finally starting to see the truth behind this case.
Are you saying you have found some evidence to show us that truth?
No, there's no need to present any evidence, since we can just have Mr. Gustavia tell us the truth.
Ah, so this is where you use that, right?
Indeed. Mr. Gustavia, there's one thing I want you to tell me. I said, Mr. Gustavia, there's one thing I want you to tell me.
What is it?
During the finals of the contest, you made your desserts on your own.
I wanted to compete for the title of the world's greatest pastry chef on my own merits.
If that was truly the case, you would have competed on your own merits from the start. I want you to tell me why it was necessary for you to cooperate with Isaac Dover.
Time for a nice game of chess.
During the contest 18 years ago, Mr. Gustavia collaborated with Mr. Dover. I wonder, what made them decide to cooperate in the first place? That's what I need to draw out from him, but...
Very stoic man. Yeah, this might be tough. Holy mother of God!
Seems he pretends to meditate when things aren't going his way. First, I'll ask about why he collaborated with Mr. Dover. The truth has been hidden for 18 years. That ends today.
Starta!
Why did you decide to collaborate with Isaac Dover?
Sir Dover and I were already acquaintances even before the contest began. Since he was interested in the contest, we simply decided to enter it together.
Joining forces with a sculptor, you weren't confident in your own abilities?
You know nothing about me. We wanted to make great works together.
Let's hold on a second.
Sir Dover's son and my own attended the same elementary school. We all got along well from the start.
Really? So you were going to share the title of world's greatest pastry chef together? Meditate. Hey! As expected, he pretends to meditate when things aren't going his way. Mr. Dover was a sculptor. I doubt he had any interest in the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. In that case, where did his true goal lie?
Indeed, my goal was not the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. However, Sir Dover's goal was the grand prize, the angel's recipe.
I see. You cooperated because your interests were aligned. But there must have been a reason why your partnership soured.
Sir Prosecutor, I am the victim of a poisoning. How dare you make fun of me? If you're going to suspect me in this manner, perhaps I'd better return you to the infirmary.
Oh, wait a moment.
In that case, you should end things soon. I am not a patient man.
It seems he's trying to leave. I can't let that happen. He's still hiding something. Next, I should ask him about his true goal. Yay. But that was only one chess piece. This is going to be a little bit tough. I need to keep the pressure on him while being cautious of the time. Right. I don't know. Did you want to appear on Mr. Master's TV show?
I believe it was called Shake and Bake, was it not?
No, not quite, sir. It was not about chicken. Or drugs. That's also a method of making drugs in a bottle. Meth, specifically. I'm pretty sure it's called piece of cake.
Would you really want to see me dance around while I make desserts?
I think some people might. No, that's probably wouldn't be too popular with the kids either.
Exactly. I know my limitations. I have no interest in that kind of theatrical tomfoolery.
Mario says, yes. Yes, I would. I give him a Russian accent, so I'm just going to call this, a dancing joyous Russian.
Sir Prosecutor, you should think about who you're talking to before asking questions. I understand.
I should refrain from making unnecessary statements.
Oh, bullshit.
I must read my opponent's reactions and emotions and strike with the right words. He's a fake samurai. Well, then having a Russian accent would be perfect. Didn't you have another goal besides the title? The title alone doesn't seem to have much value.
How dare the likes of you insult the title of a confectionery artist? My only goal was the title itself. I had no interest in anything else. My dream was to become the world's greatest pastry chef.
Really, sir?
18 years ago, I was lacking in design sense. However, things are different now.
Oh, are you saying you have improved at your craft?
Exactly, for I have trained at the Republic of Zengfa.
Ooh. Very fancy, sir. Continue.
Yes. At the time, I also studied Mr. Master's works. I would often watch his shows with my son.
So you were studying Mr. Master's work to improve your own skills. If you had his recipes, perhaps it would have been easier for you to become the world's greatest.
Perhaps. To a pastry chef, Sir Master's recipes were worth their weight in gold.
You wanted to steal his recipes, you asshole. It's becoming the world's greatest pastry chef. Wait, if becoming the world's greatest pastry chef was your goal, you should have also been interested in the grand prize, the angel's recipe.
The recipe of the world's greatest pastry chef. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't interested. However, I wouldn't think that simply being interested would be a problem.
I wonder about that.
The angel's recipe's true nature was not for making desserts, but cures. And all the contest participants should have been aware of that. Looks like I'm getting close. He isn't meditating anymore. Now to slowly but surely drive him into a corner. Oh, thank you, Health. Next, I'll ask what he planned to use the recipe book for.
Shit, I don't know.
Did you intend to win the angel's recipe and use it to make desserts?
Of course, if I attend the angel's recipe, I was going to use it in my training.
I hear that angel's recipe was worth a lot of money.
I don't know the exact details, but that recipe book was much too valuable to be sold.
You seem to know quite a lot about the angel's recipe.
It was explained to all the contest participants at the beginning of the contest.
In that case, you must know about the recipe book's true nature. That it was not a recipe book for desserts at all.
Impressive, Sir Prosecutor. So you know the true nature of the angel's recipe? The angel's recipe. Some have called it the ultimate recipe book. It contained formulas for new machines. Wait, no, not machines, holy shit. A machine to surpass Metal Gear. Medicines that were not yet on the market.
You knew the recipes were actually formulas for new medicines. This could be a useful clue.
Did you know its value?
The angel's recipe. Did you know its true value?
Silly question. It contained Sir Master's best dessert recipes. Any pastry chef worth their salt would want it.
Looks like that clue will come in handy.
Did that in the right order.
You may have studied design in Sengfa. However, your skills in lying could use more work. You just said earlier that the angel's recipe contained formulas for medicines. You weren't interested in desserts. You wanted the medicine formula.
Did you need a new medicine? Pharmacist? Probably not.
I will reveal all your lies for what they are.
Nope.
Is that all? You bore me with your empty threats, Sir Prosecutor. God, I need to be careful not to make careless statements.
I don't know. He's a fake samurai. Yeah, actually, no, you said that earlier. But actually, now that I know he's a fake samurai, what is it? What is his true nature? Okay. You know what the recipes actually are. So it wasn't that one. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be a pharmacist. Did you need a new medicine? Oh, yes, you did.
Now, why would a pastry chef such as yourself be so interested in medicine?
Mario in the chat. Well, I doubt he's Japanese. Probably not.
Perhaps what you were really after was the information about the new medicine?
I've underestimated you, Sir Prosecutor. Yes. My goal was more than just the title of the world's greatest pastry chef. At the time my son was ill, I needed a recipe for the medicine.
Your son was ill? Tell me more about that.
To protect my son's honor, I can say no more.
Judging by the worried look on his face, I must have struck a nerve. Next, I need him to tell me more about his son's illness.
Okay.
This is it. This will be my final move of the game.
What was the name of the illness? I'm not gonna dive right into that.
What kind of person was your son?
My boy, he loved the desserts I made.
Did you enter the contest solely for your son?
Sir Prosecutor, you could never understand the feelings a father has for his son. I wanted nothing more than to cure my boy's illness.
I doubt that. God.
Until the semi-finals, my son would always drop by the contest venue to play.
Is that so? Wouldn't he get in your way? I doubt you had time to take care for your son while you were challenging Mr. Master.
That may be so, but I wanted to grant my son's wish. He said he always wanted to be the first to eat my desserts.
Oh boy. About your son. If he was so sick, wouldn't it be difficult for him to come and play with you?
My son's illness, it wasn't life-threatening.
That might serve as a clue. Did the Angel's recipe have the only cure?
Yes, though the medicine is being sold everywhere now. At the time, the recipe book was my own one and only option. That's why I continued making my desserts without joining the others for tea time.
So you weren't interested in what Mr. Master was making? You sure seem confident in your chances of winning.
I couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the other contestants' desserts.
You just said earlier that you studied Mr. Master's work. In addition, if your goal was to win the contest in order to get the medicine formula, you must have been curious about the other contestants' entries as well.
Spin, baby.
There was time to sample the other desserts during the contest, but none of their entries had any flavor. So I didn't want to eat any of it. I suspect I may have been a bit nervous as well.
So everything he ate tasted flavorless. This could be a useful clue. What was the name of the illness? What was the name of your son's illness?
Sir Prosecutor, how insensitive of you! My son was seriously ill. I will not be discussing this with the likes of you.
Looks like that clue will come in handy. I think we're gonna double up on clues here. You told me your son's illness was not life-threatening. Is there really a need to be so secretive about it? No, it's not. And also, I don't think it's his son's illness at all.
It was enough to keep him from living a normal life.
That must have been difficult for your son.
I tried everything I could to cure his illness. It wasn't fair for the poor boy. He could never taste the desserts he loved so much.
Was he too fat? Fuck. No. The Angel's recipe contains a cure for a certain illness. A remedy that could also cure Mr. Master's taste disorder.
What? He had it too?
He had it too? I see. Yeah, I love the wrong answers too. So your son suffers from a taste disorder.
I didn't think you'd figure it out so quickly.
In order to cure your son's taste disorder, you needed the recipe book. Wasn't that your true goal? No, it wasn't.
It is as you say.
Based on how he's acted up until now, it appears he is still hiding something. Looks like that clue will come in handy. It's either he also had the illness or he's lying to try and feign sympathy. That's two. Being unable to taste anything regardless of what you eat. Such a bitter illness. That reminds me. Didn't you say something similar earlier? None of their entries had any flavor, so I didn't feel like eating any of it, wasn't it? Perhaps your son wasn't the only one who suffered from a taste disorder. Right there, hit the nail on the head. It's hard to imagine being a successful pastry chef without a sense of taste. Perhaps that's why perhaps what you really wanted was to cure yourself.
That's completely ludicrous. 18 years ago, I made those desserts all by myself.
Dover, dude. I feel like he didn't do anything for this whole thing. It seems you've caught yourself in a contradiction. Didn't you cooperate with Isaac Dover in the contest? You can hardly say you made the desserts all by yourself.
No! You must take great pride in your abilities as a pastry chef, but to betray your pride in cooperation with another contestant, you did it all to cure your own disease.
Well done, Sir Prosecutor. It is as you say. The one with the taste disorder is not my son. It is I. No one knew. I've kept it a secret for 18 years.
It doesn't matter how long a secret is kept. If you lie before me, I will expose it. Dame Gustavia and Isaac Dover were both trying to obtain the recipes for the new medicines. Gustavia to cure his condition, and Dover most likely to sell the recipe book for money. For this reason, they entered the contest as a collaborative effort. And with that, checkmate. Sweet health! Well, that's a darn shame. And that would absolutely give you a reason to kill the other.
I have never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago.
Taste disorder?
It was a severe disorder. I was unable to discern any flavor at all. It's the one illness a pastry chef dreads above all.
Those symptoms sound a bit different from Mr. Master's taste disorder.
Mr. Master's condition is known as hypojusia. I still don't know how to pronounce that exactly. It simply causes a decreased sensitivity to a certain specific flavors.
I'm sure it has caused Sir Master much pain too. After all, no medication was available to cure it 18 years ago.
In order to cure your taste disorder, you would need Mr. Master's angel recipe. And that's why you entered the contest, am I correct?
That was one of my goals, but I still had my sights set on the title of World's Greatest. When it comes to making desserts, I won't lose to anyone. Even without the ability to taste, I still have the utmost confidence in my flavors.
Oh? So, I presume you also prepared your desserts in the finals with the intent to win?
Well, that goes without saying.
Gustavia's condition is called Ejusia.
According to what Mr. Shields told us earlier, the evaluation of Mr. Gustavia's entry was... Up until the semi-finals, Mr. Gustavia's flavors and design were to my liking. Unfortunately, both the taste and appearance of his final entry left much to be desired. It seems the dessert you made for the finals was not rated highly in regards to flavor. Mr. Gustavia, you will tell us about how you made your desserts during the finals.
Very well. It seems I must teach you upstarts a lesson.
Yay, final. Standard interrogation.
Sir Dover and I cooperated until the finals. I handled the flavor. He was in charge of the design. However, for the finals, I wanted to challenge Sir Master with my own skills. I helped Sir Dover make his entry, but I made mine completely on my own. If the flavor of my entry wasn't good enough, my own lack of training was to blame.
And also your taste buds, but yeah.
How about that, Sir Prosecutor? This is the truth of 18 years ago.
I can't find any contradictions in his testimony.
Well, of course he isn't gonna fess up that easy. This guy's been on the run for 18 years, after all. Guess we'll just have to keep on pressing him until he breaks, eh?
Yes.
Here. Restream is having a bit of a fit right now. Is everything working properly? I don't know, it's been really glitchy as of late. I don't know why. Anyway. Here, I'm going to save right here. Done. All right. Cooperated until the finals, handled the flavor, charged the design.
So Mr. Dover took care of the design while you handled the flavor.
Sir Dover was a sculptor by trade. His sense of design, oh my god, I skipped it. But he was just an amateur chef. We combined our strengths by working together.
You never did have much design sense, did you, Mr. Gustavia? Oh dear. Oh, he's about to design something for you right now. Bert!
What do you think of this?
That's the symbol of Zhengfa. Wow! A phoenix! That is really good! Whoa! You really have improved these past 18 years.
Behold the fruits of my 18 years of training. I put my life and limb on the line for my dessert skills. It's true that I cooperated with Sir Dover 18 years ago, up until the finals. However, for the finals, I wanted to challenge Sir Master with my own skills.
He's no longer making tiny weird ducklings. So were you were really serious about the title of world's greatest pastry chef?
Yes, confectionery is my life. Naturally, I wanted to be the world's greatest. But back then I was still inexperienced, and I was no match for the better chef.
But your goal was also to obtain the angel's recipe, right? Wouldn't the recipe book be worth more to you than the title? I will not stand by and watch you badger a convalescent man like this. My gavel shall protect you, Mr. Gustavia.
God, I realize he's still recuperating, but...
Mr. Gustavia, do not yield to this devilish prosecutor. Now then, please continue with your testimony. Well, finally. I mean, I suppose you could count it as badgering the witness. I wouldn't want to do that.
I helped Sir Dover make his entry, but I made mine completely on my own.
So you helped Mr. Dover with his dessert, but made yours all by yourself? No matter how you look at it, this seems odd. Why didn't Mr. Dover assist you?
It matters not how it seems, it's the truth. I do not know what Sir Dover was thinking.
It's hard to prove if someone is lying about something that happened 18 years ago. Hey, Kate, does your secret weapon also work as a lie detector? If it did, I'd have already stolen Mr. Edgeworth's spotlight. There's no need for that. I will expose this man's lies myself. Dane Gustavia, please continue with your testimony.
If the flavor of my entry wasn't good enough, my own lack of training was to blame.
Up until the finals, I heard that you received high praise for the flavor of your desserts. Was there some sort of accident during the finals?
Nothing of the sort. I simply was unable to taste my work due to my taste disorder. My intuition must have been off, that's all.
Oh, really? Then was your intuition fine when making Mr. Dover's entry? How could there be such a huge difference between the finals and the previous day? We're not getting anywhere at this rate. Should I change the topic? I don't know. It seems like he's trying to say something very specific here. Yep, out of shits and giggles, I'm going to save. Also, in case this happens to give me some kind of penalty, which it might. Ask about the semifinals. Ask about Mr. Dover. Let's see what happens when I don't change the subject. I don't think there's any reason to change the topic. All those unanswered questions 18 years ago. I should already have the keys I need to unravel them. I must recall all the information that Mr. Shields and my father gathered. Oh boy, another one of these. Let's see. I'm curious to see what would happen if we asked about the semifinals. So, you're sure there wasn't anything different between the semifinals and the finals?
Yes, that's right. Aside from not cooperating with Sir Dover, the finals weren't much different from the semifinals.
Were they? We'll see. So you were still able to make your desserts without Mr. Dover's assistance?
I may have lacked design sense, but I was confident in the flavor. Apart from the design, there were no major differences between the finals and the semifinals entries.
That sure is strange. That's not how Uncle Ray remembers it. I'm pretty sure both the look and the taste of your final desserts scored poorly. Then there's no way he would have won the contest. Even the flavor, which he was so confident about, failed to materialize during the finals. Something must have changed beside Mr. Dover's cooperation. But what? Out of curiosity, though, I kind of wonder what would happen if I looked at the other branch off. I want to see that. There is one difference. Okay. I'll take a look at that in a quick second. I want to ask about Mr. Dover. You knew Mr. Dover before you entered the contest, right?
Yes, I knew him well. Sir Dover's son and my own attended the same elementary school.
Well, we already know that. Then it wasn't a coincidence that you both participated in the contest?
I heard about the contest, so I made the suggestion to Sir Dover. He always wanted money for his sculpting business.
If I recall, Mr. Dover was a greedy man who was always after more money. Whoa, so the Angel's recipe is really worth that much? Don't steal shit. The recipe book was certainly valuable 18 years ago, but nowadays most of the medicines it contains are available commercially. Ah, that's a shame. In the end, it seems that each of the contestants had the Angel's recipe as their goal. I could just try random nonsense at this stage. The first inkling I had was the fluorescent cloth, but again, Delicia was the person that was handling the cloth specifically, but I don't know. No, that was wrong. Your testimony is faulty. Take a look at this. Why are you meditating? Take a look at this piece of evidence.
I do not need to see it to understand. Your training is insufficient, Sir Prosecutor.
Ah. Alright.
This evidence will tell us the truth. You are clearly bluffing. I was not born yesterday. Indeed, this evidence doesn't show a contradiction. Shall I continue?
This is probably obvious, and I am not thinking of it clearly. I'm just going after some stuff that I have inklings for. Wait, okay, hold on. Alright. Aside from not cooperating with Sir Dover, so the family photo I feel like is not related at all, considering, aside from not cooperating with Sir Dover, alright, so clearly, Dover, out of the equation. And Dover is a big major part of that. Gustavia and Dover are both that. So it wouldn't be that. I'm a little bit lost on this one. I don't know what it is about these particular cases, but I'm having difficulty seeing them. Right. Nothing to do with the trolley. I got plenty of health at this stage. Have I tried the teapot? I have no idea, but I tried it and it failed. What in the ever-loving fuck? I said that wasn't it! Alright, well now that I figured that out... Oh, it's a YouTube link. Oh, yeah. That's appropriate, thanks. There was another difference between the semifinals and the finals. This photo depicts your son. We know he came to visit you up until the finals.
That is correct. What does that have to do with anything?
Your son, who always came to see you through the semifinals, was not present for the finals. And then, it was only in the finals that your flavor judged poorly. Oh, shit, that's what I was trying to figure out. I didn't piece the two connected in there. Cool. I don't believe this to be a mere coincidence. I thought maybe Dover was the one that was tasting stuff, but okay. Your son's visits must have been very important to you, were they not?
A father can work miracles when his son is watching. With my son cheering me on, I was able to make the most delicious desserts.
By magic, apparently? Mr. Gustavia sure sounds like a good father, doesn't he?
If what he's saying is the whole truth, one could say so. But just hearing his son's cheers wouldn't be enough to change the taste of his desserts. A confectioner confident in his sense of taste develops a taste disorder. It would have been difficult for him to maintain the taste of his desserts. Your son came to cheer you on. Was that really all he did?
You seem very doubtful, Sir Prosecutor. In that case, I'll turn this around and ask you. What else could my elementary school son have done besides cheer me on?
He stole desserts from others. He made your desserts for you. Yeah, you're a sham.
I'm sure your elementary school son would have remembered the taste of your desserts.
Of course, my son always loved my desserts.
In that case, he would have been able to taste test your desserts in your place.
What did you say?
Earlier, you told us that you have a taste disorder.
I've never told this to anyone. Well done. As you say, I developed a taste disorder 18 years ago.
No one else knew about your taste disorder. If Mr. Dover had found out, he would have ended your partnership. After all, you were in charge of the flavor. Your son didn't just cheer you on. He also helped you determine if your desserts tasted correct!
No!
Ah, I see. Mr. Dover's dessert was made the day before, so it still tasted good.
What you are saying is quite amusing, Sir Prosecutor. You say that my elementary school son assisted me as a taste tester? You are insulting my pride.
Your pride?
It's true, I had no sense of design 18 years ago. However, I won't lose to anyone when it comes to flavor. You claim I wouldn't cast aside my pride and rely on my son. Don't get carried away with your foolish conjecture, you upstart.
In that case, I'm sure your son can confirm if my theory is mere conjecture.
Well, where the heck is his son nowadays?
Unfortunately for you, I no longer have a son.
What?
After my taste disorder was cured, I went to train in Sangfa immediately. During that time, I severed all ties with my son.
What? Don't tell me you would even abandon your own son!
That's not all. Even today, the whereabouts of his son are still unknown. The police have been searching, but they haven't been able to find any traces of him.
You wish to confirm your theory? I welcome you to try. Desserts are the only things that are important to me. After regaining my sense of taste, my son no longer mattered.
Shit! Order in the court! Mr. Gustavia's actions are certainly inhumane. However, we are not here to judge whether or not he is a good father. Prosecutor Edgeworth, I believe this is your loss.
After all, there is no evidence left from 18 years ago that could prove your theories.
Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do? At this rate, we'll never find out the truth.
Detective Gumshoe, where are those results?
We will call child services later. Yes, that is a problem for another day.
I wonder whose blood it could have been. I've asked forensics to look into it, sir.
Right, I leave it to you, Detective. I entrusted Detective Gumshoe with the last piece of evidence. If only I knew who that blood belonged to.
Miles, there's still one thing that's bothering Uncle Ray. Was Mr. Gustavia's only reason for coming to the art gallery to check on the body?
If he only wanted to confirm the body's presence, he wouldn't have needed to open the case.
That's right. Is there a way we can prove this?
There is one way. We just need that evidence from Detective Gumshoe.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, what are you talking about?
Mr. Edgeworth, sorry to keep you waiting, sir!
Bubbling buffoons. Pointing to forehead meme. Can't be a bad parent if there's no kid. Wink, wink. Just the person I was talking about. Detective Gumshoe, I trust you have the test results.
Of course, sir! I just got the report back from the lab.
Detective, please be silent. So this is the evidence that Prosecutor Edgeworth was talking about. Hey, what's this? This is the first I've heard of it.
This was a request from me. I asked him to investigate a certain piece of evidence.
Why? Why is everyone always helping you out? I'm the one in charge of the crime scene.
Mr. DeBest, I apologize for taking matters into my own hands, but how about we hear his report first?
Sure.
Detective Gumshoe, what were the results?
Here's the report, sir. The traces of blood found in the Gemini sculpture belong to the victim of the poison gas, Dane Gustavia. What are you saying?
Good work, Detective Gumshoe. As I thought, my theory was correct.
Mr. Edgeworth, what do you mean? We too would like an explanation. What on earth does this blood prove?
This blood is something the culprit of the IS-7 incident tried to conceal.
It can't be. That's...
This blood was found inside the glass case of the Gemini sculpture. In other words, your blood was found alongside Mr. Dover's body.
Why would Mr. Gustavia's blood be in a place like that?
If you intend to remain silent, then I'll reveal the truth myself. In the Gemini case, aside from the blood, we also found traces of salt and sugar.
Salt and blood.
And only one of Mr. Dover's sherbet desserts tasted salty.
Come to think of it, I remember Miss Delicious saying the same thing 18 years ago. Oh, yesy, his sherbet was most delicious. Really? I wish I could have eaten some too. But there was one piece that was so salty I couldn't eat it.
Salty?
It was right here in this photo. It was a part of that lyre.
That's the lyre from the Gemini constellation.
Exactly. For some reason, salt had been mixed into the lyre. No other traces of salt were found in Dover's room.
In that case, please explain. Where did the salt detected in the lyre come from? The salt in the lyre. Let me think about that one. What would have been salty? Oh my fucking god. This is the rock salt lamp used as the murder weapon in the IS-7 incident.
I believe part of this rock salt lamp was mixed in with the sherbet from the lyre. At the time of the murder, there were 2 rock salt lamps in Mr. Master's room. One of those lamps took Mr. Dover's life. We know that Mr. Dover's blood was left behind on the murderous lamp. However, there were no traces of anyone's blood found at the crime scene, Mr. Master's room.
Because the killer disposed all the desserts with the traces of blood into the streams of water, right?
No other traces of salt were found in Mr. Dover's room.
Speaking of which, weren't the 2 rock salt lamps found in Miss Delicious's room also broken?
It looks like both the lamps and the pillars are broken. Both their light bulbs are broken.
Maybe they were dropped on the floor. We never did figure out why the other rock salt lamps were broken. Maybe Mr. Gustavia's blood was on the other lamp.
If your blood was found on the lamps at the crime scene, you would have been suspected. As the culprit, you would have needed to conceal all traces of your blood from the police.
Don't tell me he concealed it in the sherbet lyre.
Exactly. The rock salt lamp and his blood were mixed into the sherbet lyre and hidden inside the glass case. Unlike the fountain's water, the sherbet desserts would not be analyzed right away. Perhaps he had planned to dispose of the sherbet when the opportunity presented itself? Then the reason Mr. Gustavia came to this gallery.
18 years ago, the body and the evidence pointing to the killer were both stolen. Even the killer could not have anticipated that. There was no way of knowing when the body and the evidence would be discovered. So he planned to destroy the evidence before the Zodiac Art Gallery's grand opening. What explanation do you have, sir?
Dane Gustavia, isn't it about time you confessed? You are the true culprit of the IS-7 incident.
A little bit too late. Statute of limitations is over.
Monsieur Gustavia, you're the reason Monsieur Master is...
Mr. Gustavia, could it be? After all this time, my crime is finally brought to light. The prosecutor and defense attorney 18 years ago never even came close. Bravo, bravo. Well done, Sir Prosecutor.
So you admit that you killed Mr. Dover?
It is true. I killed Isaac Dover. But he had only himself to blame.
What do you mean?
Dover and I worked together in order to win the contest. No matter who won, we agreed that we'd share the Angel's recipe. But on the day of the finals, he stabbed me in the back.
Literally?
Sir Dover, this isn't what we agreed to!
I'm sorry, Gustavia. The deal's off.
What? But I made your desserts for you. I'm the reason you got this far.
And what of it? Can you prove that you assisted me in any way?
Dover, you were planning to betray me all along. Because of Dover's treachery, I was forced to make my final entry on my own. It's just as Sir Prosecutor said. My son assisted me every day until the finals.
What about your pride as a confectionery artist?
A proud chef loses the ability to taste his own creations. That's a feeling an upstart like you would never understand. Mastering the art of dessert making is my reason for being. It is my one and only pride.
Committing murder for the sake of pride. That's another feeling I will never understand. To say nothing of abandoning your own son, such a thought disgusts me.
Before you judge me, first understand what happened 18 years ago. On the day of the finals, my son never came to assist me. Thinking back on it now, I suppose Dover had a hand in that as well.
What exactly happened to your son? Sleepover! Probably. It's a sleepover between, like, kids or something. Only joy in life is desserts. I don't know, it's a pretty sweet one. Monsieur Master kind of had that going for him.
I do not know, but it no longer matters. Ever since that day, my son meant nothing to me. From what I hear, he's still missing.
That's awful! Giving up on him like that.
Without your son, you had no chance of winning, correct?
Yes, and since I was guaranteed to lose, I needed a failsafe. During the afternoon tea time, I made my way to Sir Master's room. I just needed to take a photo of the cure to my taste disorder. It would have all worked out. If only Dover hadn't interfered.
Gustavia. Trying to steal a picture of my prize, are you? That's hardly seems sporting.
You!
Cure for taste disorders. You have a taste disorder, don't you? This is rich. Pastry chef who can't taste.
Dover, you!
Puny worm, you are in no position to oppose me.
Why you? When I attempted to hit Dover, he struck me and sent me flying. I crashed into one of the rock salt lamps, and that was when my blood stained on it.
So Mr. Dover wasn't the first one to be injured. So you could defend yourself by saying this was defense. Okay, that's the angle you're going. Cool. You know you're a bad dad when you make Karma look good. Oh, God. I don't know. I don't think anybody could possibly be a worse dad than freaking... Well, Karma's up there, but definitely not up there with, freaking hell. How is my brain completely forgetting this? Grammary. There we go. That was the word. I don't know why. I literally made a video highlighting me reading the comic. How the hell did I forget that one? Zach Grammary. My brain. It just works like a rotating slide of all my memory. At least Karma raised Edgeworth and Francie. Yeah, he is a daddy.
To conceal my blood, I shaved away part of the rock salt lamp and mixed it to the sherbet. After that, it became a part of the lyre sculpture.
So that's how you tried to erase your traces from the crime scene.
Dover tried to blackmail me by using his knowledge of my taste disorder. If I didn't want it to become public, I was to pay him a large sum.
So, that's the reason why you killed Isaac Dover.
Exactly. What reason do I have to let those two obstruct me who obstruct me live?
I think that... Is that a typo? I think it might be. What reason do I have to let those who obstruct me live? Oh, nope. It's not a typo. I'm just an idiot.
He was the one who drew first blood. I simply gave him his just desserts.
So that was his motive.
I carried the rock salt lamp that bore my blood into Dover's room. Then I came up with a hiding place where it would not be easily found.
I get it. That room contained plenty of tools for sculpting sherbet. Just desserts! Yep.
Your deduction is spot on, Sir Attorney. It was the ideal place to shave away the rock salt. I then proceeded to coat the surface of the sherbet lyre with vast amounts of the salty mixture.
But why? Why did you try to pin the crime on Monsieur Master?
You are wrong to blame me for that, Lady Catherine. If not for your unnecessary meddling, Sir Master would never have been a suspect.
Yep, that's unfortunate.
Why do you think I hid the murder weapon and fluorescent cloth in Lady Delicia's room?
There's only one reason why you'd place a murder weapon in someone else's room. You wanted to pin the crime on Delicia. Me?
Yes, that is correct.
Gusty, why? Why me?
As one who sought to be the world's best confectioner, I greatly respected Sir Master. It was never my intention to cast suspicion on him, but an insolent woman who dared to sully the contest with fake desserts. I had no problem letting someone like you take the blame for the crime.
That makes me sad. I'll just eat a pan of chocolate, you'll be fine.
If you hadn't snacked on other people's desserts, the body would never have been found. It was when Sir Master would be judging Lady Delicia's room. That's when I finally saw an opportunity to freeze the body, but before I could move the body, Lady Catherine had already discovered it.
Why did you need to freeze Monsieur Dover's body?
Why indeed?
Monsieur Edgeworth, please tell us. Why would Monsieur Gustavia need to freeze the body? To disguise it as an ice sculpture. To throw off the time of death. To create a fake crime scene. I mean, he definitely did disguise it as an ice sculpture. I don't think the time of death. I don't know if that would have mattered too much. Maybe. Here, just for safety's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and save. I don't know. I'm down to like half my health. I might as well. I would have to say, probably to disguise it as an ice sculpture, maybe. But I don't know. That is a hell of a leap. I would believe more likely to throw off the time of death, but I don't know. This is Ace Attorney logic, so.
Mr. Gustavia froze the body in order to disguise it as an ice sculpture.
Really? Mr. Edgeworth, Miss Hall looks like she's frozen solid.
I'm sorry. Seems I was mistaken.
Monsieur Edgeworth, please tell us this. Oh, shit. Oops. Okay, throw off the time of death.
Mr. Gustavia intended to freeze the body in order to throw off the time of death. If the time of death had coincided with the tea party, Mr. Gustavia would have been suspected.
That is correct. Preparations were necessary to freeze the body. While I was preparing in Dover's room, I placed the body in the treasure chest in Sir Master's room. I could think of no better hiding place at the time. But thanks to that gluttonous pharmacist, the lid of the chest broke.
Wow. But why did you disguise him as an ice sculpture?
Once the body was discovered, there would be no time to throw off the time of death. To buy time, you needed to hide it someplace else.
How horrid. How could you hide Monsieur Dover's body within one of his own works?
It all would have worked out if the body hadn't been discovered while it was in Sir Master's room. If everything had gone according to plan, Sir Master would never have been arrested.
So, because I discovered the body, it's my fault Monsieur Master was... Kate, don't take his words to heart. Even if suspicion hadn't fallen on Mr. Master, Miss Delicious would have taken the fall. No matter who he targeted, the one at fault here is Mr. Gustavia himself.
The detective in charge of the initial investigation was also a dunce. To think that he never reported the missing body to the prosecutor.
Prosecutor Von Kalmer indicted Mr. Master without knowing the body had vanished.
Ah, I see. That'd explain why he looked so flustered at the crime scene. Although, it's something that would stand out if you read the official documents.
Could someone have intentionally distorted the information? At any rate, Von Kalmer found out about the missing body after he had made his indictment. And if he had let one person be acquitted, he'd have a stain on his much prided perfect record. That's why he concealed the fact, and the body was hidden, and had Mr. Master declared guilty.
What are you saying? For 18 years, that man has taken the blame for your crimes. Don't you feel anything at all?
I don't care what you say. What a monster! I'm arresting him right here, right now, sir!
You can't. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that will be impossible.
So you figured it out. That's correct. You have no right to sentence me.
What? But the culprit is standing right in front of us!
Allow me to tell you the reason why you can't arrest me. It has been 18 years since I murdered Dover. The statute of limitations for murder in this country is 15 years, is it not? In other words, it's impossible for you to arrest me. I only confessed my crime because the statute of limitations has expired.
The statute of limitations for murder is 15 years? Mr. Edgeworth, is there nothing we can do?
As long as the statute of limitations remains, arresting him is impossible.
No way! My sincerest apologies, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Neither Mr. Gustavia's testimony nor your logic can be taken as official legal proof. The verdict of the trial 18 years ago cannot be overturned.
What about the fact that Mr. Dover's body was hidden? Even if we can't arrest Mr. Gustavia, this should at least earn Mr. Master a retrial.
Really? I wonder about that. Overturning a verdict of the goddess of law is much harder than you think.
Is the PIC trying to justify the verdict from 18 years ago?
How unfortunate, Sir Prosecutor. Well, not Professor. Is there nothing I can do? Is there no way to continue pursuing Mr. Gustavia?
I don't know. We're going to need some kind of miracle on high. That miracle will have to come after I save. Is that all that book says? I'm going to have to take a look at it. I was wondering when it would finally become a piece of solid evidence to use. 18 years since I murdered Dover. No matter how many years have passed, your sin will never fade.
Sir Prosecutor, I'm sure you must have realized by now. There's no way you can arrest me. Arresting you would be a piece of cake for someone like Mr. Edgeworth. Isn't that right, sir?
I don't think it will be that simple.
It's impossible for you to arrest me. The statute of limitations for murder in this country is 15 years, is it not?
It's possible that some of your actions 18 years ago were not affected by the statute.
It's been so long I've got nothing left to hide. Ask me anything you'd like.
Very well. Could you explain to me what you did during these past 18 years?
Certainly. After the contest, the medicine from the recipe book allowed me to fully cure my taste disorder. Then I immediately headed to Zhengfa to train my design skills.
So he wasn't seen ever since that case because he was in a foreign country.
Indeed, and I'm certain that I was abroad to train. About 1 year after that case, right before Mr. Master's final trial began, and thanks to my training, I am now a confectioner unparalleled in both taste and design!
You should not be proud of a position earned through the sacrifices of others!
You can't bake a cake without breaking a few eggs. Sacrifices were necessary for my goal.
That's horrible!
Say what you will. The fact still remains that you cannot arrest me.
I have to get more information out of Mr. Gustavia. Is there anything of note in his recent testimony? He's turning in Zhengfa. Mr. Master's final trial. Let me take a quick look here. Let me look at the incident file, shall we? The time of death, 18 years ago. Jeffrey Masters' room, crime scene, murder weapon, the prosecutor, defense attorney. The statute of limitations ran out on December 24th, 3 years ago. So that's a 3-year gap. Does anything fill in that 3-year gap? I don't know. Because the victim's body vanished, there appears to be no autopsy report. And then there's the picture. So I don't know. I don't know if the statute of limitation would work in this. Well, I didn't look directly at the rules for statute of limitation, but it seemed pretty clear. A book on the statute of limitations in criminal cases. Murder, 15 years. Theft, 7 years if the suspect flees to or lives in a foreign country. The time limit is on hold until the... Oh my fucking god, how long was he gone? If possible, accomplices are on trial. The countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached, then resumes. If changes are pressed to demand compensation, the statute is frozen for the length of that procedure. Oh my god. Alright, that might help out. Anything I know is his recent testimony? Yeah, he left and trained in Zhengfa. Could you please add the details about your training in Zhengfa to your testimony?
Certainly. Afterwards, I trained in Zhengfa to become the world's best confectioner.
Oh, sir. You have dug your grave.
One of the conditions regarding the statute of limitations for murder is as follows. If the suspect flees to a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. So the statute of limitation was suspended while you were overseas!
That's right! The statute of limitations stopped while you were training in Zhengfa! Indeed, it is possible that the statute of limitations has not expired yet. Mr. Gustavia, please tell us how long you stayed in Zengfa.
It would be exactly 3 years.
3 years? Wait. Let's calmly think this over. The case occurred 18 years ago. The statute of limitations is 15 years, and he was away for 3. 15 plus 3 is exactly 18 years. I'm sure of it. Mr. Edgeworth, we did it! The statute of limitations hasn't expired yet!
Exactly 18 years, you say? How amusing. So he realized...
Why are you laughing? The statute of limitations still applies. Okay, it's frustrating, but... The case occurred in December. It's April now. Which means, strictly speaking, the case occurred 18 years and 4 months ago. His stay abroad wasn't quite enough. We were just a few months short. Not enough! That's...
Like I said, it's impossible for you to arrest me.
He must have known all about this when he confessed to his crime.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, it really is a shame. If it was just 1 year earlier, the statute of limitations would have not run out. Those who undermine the goddess of law's verdict must bear the burden of their crimes. It seems you were simply incapable.
Oh, bullshit!
This can't be the end.
So Monsieur Gustavio really is beyond the law's reach. Kate, what are you thinking?
Objection.
If you're thinking of taking matters into your own hands, I implore you to reconsider. There still might be a way to bring this man to justice. What? Miles, remember the facts of the case 18 years ago. Just as you were mistaken earlier, it seems Mr. Gustavia has also overlooked one key detail.
Overlooked?
He wasn't present during Mr. Master's final trial, so he doesn't know the outcome of the trial. There may yet be a way for you to arrest him. Miles, look over that book on statute of limitations again. Yeah, I saw a little clause in there. Here. Again, 15 years. If the suspect flees to or lives in a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. So that would bring it down to 15. If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached, then resumes. If charges are pressed to demand compensation, the statute is frozen for the length of that procedure. So, if possible accomplices are on trial, which the trial had gone on for a year... Oh, we're good. 17 years ago, Master was falsely declared guilty for a serious crime. Thanks to that verdict, we aren't out of ammunition just yet.
Mr. Shields, you don't mean...
Those who undermine the goddess of law's verdict must bear the burden of their crimes. I am Mr. Master's attorney. I can't use his suffering as a weapon in good conscience. For that reason, I leave the rest up to you.
The trial my father and Von Karma battled over. Can I use that to arrest Mr. Gustavia? What should I do? Should I raise an objection?
Oh, hell yes. Finish it off.
My father and Von Karma, their paths diverged. One revealed the truth, the other concealed it. The path that I choose is the one that reveals the truth.
I see no further reason to prolong this trial. I hereby find Dane Gustavia not guilty. Shut your mouth.
Overruled! Gustavia will stand in court for his crimes.
Do you mean to say you have found a way to arrest Mr. Gustavia?
Exactly. I'll show Judge Courtney the evidence that will shatter the statute of limitations.
And I would say it would be the incident file. Because this... Let me see. Does it specify directly in here the time that this trial actually happened? Case file received from Shields. I'm gonna try it. The IS-7 case file. What page are you referring to? Oh boy. Oh shit. The case summary, victim data, suspect data. Okay, so I've got that right, so let me take a look at this. Again, it has to do with not the time of death, crime scene, murder weapon, prosecutor, defense attorney. Statute of limitations ran out on December 24th. Let me see. Creator of the desert contest. Victim's body was found inside. After his own confession, he was convicted. All right, let me see here. True identity is the famous forensic Pierre Roquette. Enter the contest. Cause of death. Because the victim's body vanished, there appears to be no autopsy report. So, is that it? I'm trying to remember. I want to keep this, like, all in proper wraps real quick. A little bit slow, but give me a minute. If charges are pressed to demand compensation, nobody's asking for compensation. If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached, then resumes. I think that would be it. And since Mr. Master was on trial during that period of time, let me just check the page numbers again. Again, Jeffrey Master, that was the second page and a part of the suspect data.
The suspect data page. At the trial, Jeffrey Master was found guilty of being an accomplice to murder. And it took 1 year to arrive at this verdict.
Right. That is indeed true.
This book lists conditions in which the statute of limitation can be put on hold. The first, as I have said earlier, is if the suspect flees to a foreign country.
But there's one more.
If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached. What are you saying? Sir Master was found to be an accomplice?
That's right. Mr. Master was sentenced after you had left for your trip to Zhangfa. And he was found guilty, not of being the culprit, but of being an accomplice. But it seems you didn't know that.
That's absurd! Sir Master never committed any crime to begin with. You should certainly know this.
Of course we do. That is why we are going to free him. To that end, we will shatter the one remaining obstacle in our way. The statute of limitations! You fled to Zhangfa for 3 years, and Jeffrey Master was being tried as an accomplice for 1 year. Put it all together, we see that the total time limit for this case is 19 years. In other words, the statute of limitations is not over for you yet!
The goddess of law is unerring in her judgments. However, it seems that the prosecutor at the time was not. I cannot believe it, but it seems like the case will have to be reopened.
This is absurd. You cannot arrest me.
For the last 18 years, an innocent man has suffered greatly in your stead. Mr. Gustavia, it's now time for you to atone for your crimes.
I had finally earned my place as the greatest confectioner in the world. To achieve that goal, I cast everything aside, even my own son.
What a shame. You can't run for your crimes any longer.
From your crimes, rather.
Oh god. Oh, that's very talented. Shit. I thought he was gonna do like smoke bomb kind of thing out of his own body. Hey, Gumshoe.
Then Gustavia has been taken into custody, sir.
Yeah, so, you're up next, right? Yes, I understand.
Here's Sudoku. Not quite.
Kate. Everyone, I am truly sorry for all these troubles I caused, and thank you very much for catching Monsieur Gustavia.
What you did cannot be overlooked. I actually agree, because according to... Well, let's... Hold on a second. Let me look at this real quick. Theft is 7. Well, you attempted murder, so you could be thrown in jail for 15 years. Oh, dear. Seriously, though, his breakdown is seppuku. Yeah, I know.
Even if the crimes you committed were in response to a past injustice, as a prosecutor, I am terribly sorry for what happened.
No, I'm only getting what I deserve, since I was the cause of all this. Kate, will you have me as your attorney? I'm not quite the same useless kid I was 18 years ago. I won't let them find you guilty.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, Monsieur Shields! Yes! Thank you so much!
How about a hug?
Sorry to interrupt, but it's time to go.
Yes, alright. Adieu, monsieur. Adieu.
Judge Courtney, I can't help but feel that you've been dishonest with me.
Dishonest? Whatever do you mean?
You said that the verdict could not be overturned, but that was not the case. A reinvestigation and retrial were obviously required as soon as the missing body was found.
I have no need to answer you.
It seems she doesn't intend to ever give me an answer.
No. The PIC is one locked up organization. Ray and Kate have a really cute relationship. Notice how he never once asked for a hug. He respects and truly cares for Kate. I mean, I have no idea why he wants to hug a whole lot of people. I don't know. I hope there's no, like, ulterior motives for that. I don't think he's a creep.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, the PIC has you in its sights. They will receive a report on everything you did here today, and you will most likely be required to appear before them. Now then, I shall take my leave.
Oh, stop harassing us further. Hold on, Mr. Edgeworth. Hold on, Mr. Edgeworth caught the real bad guy. Didn't he do his job as a prosecutor?
No matter how things turn out, I will never regret what I did here today.
Mr. Edgeworth? You little weenie. Hey, Prosecutor Edgeworth! What is it? Why are you always sticking your nose into cases that you're not even involved with?
My duty is to reveal the truth. Not only as a prosecutor, it's just who I am.
I don't get it. Of course not.
As long as you continue to think that being the best is all that matters, I doubt you ever will.
Well, I don't get that either. I'm going home. Oh, go cry and watch some cartoons. What was that all about?
There's much he still needs to learn.
Miley! What is it? I knew Greggy's son could do it. I think I might be falling for you. Oh God, she's so ancient. No. Why are all the old people hounding onto Edgeworth? Is it the gray hair? Is that it? Thanks for helping, Jeffy.
Well,
Yo, Edgy! Great job solving that case. Well, I was busy drawing, so I really didn't catch all of it. What did Katie and Justy run off to? Maurice, you really weren't paying much attention at all, were you?
like he never does.
Well, I hate to admit it, but Larry's doodles actually helped us out a few times. I should say something nice to him. No, I can't think of anything.
Don't glare at me like that, I'm sorry!
It was not my intent to glare at you. That patented Edgeworth glare. You're just like your old man.
Is that so?
Well then. Uncle Ray's gonna go pay Mr. Master a visit. You guys want to tag along?
I don't know if I want to meet this person.
Like, he's probably very bitter from being locked in a cell for 18 years. I'd be happy to accompany you. Oh, me too. We'll see. April 2nd. I wonder if he managed to get the drug necessary to fix his taste issue in prison. I don't know if that's like an expensive thing or whatnot. Who knows? April 2nd, 4:56 p.m. Detention Center, Visitor's Room. So, this Jeffrey Master, what's he like? Oh, he's a really nice guy. Nice and gentle guy. He's still doing his best to make people happy. He actually cooks desserts for the inmates. And nowadays, all the prisoners and guards look forward to snack time at 3 o'clock. Wow, that's nice. I want to eat his desserts too. So the chocolate cake we saw in the prison the other day, he was the one who made it? Delectable. Still looks very bitter. Oh, Gummy, why are you here?
I heard everybody was coming to visit, so I escorted Mr. Master myself. I also heard there was going to be chocolate, and I cannot turn that down.
Hello, one and all. I am Jeffrey Master. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth at your service. And I'm Mr. Edgeworth's assistant, Kay Faraday. Oh, it is a pleasure to meet you all. Mr. Master, Miles is your old defense attorney's son. You mean Mr. Gregory's... Oh, your father has done so much for me. And yet, I betrayed his good faith when I made that false confession. I've heard the details from Mr. Shields. Mr. Master, I came here today to tell you everything we've learned about 18 years ago. 18 years ago? And now you know.
Kate committed a crime for my sake? Why would she do such a thing?
Miss Hall has been trying to prove your innocence for the past 18 years. She was willing to do whatever it took to save you.
Kate, she shouldn't have gone through so much trouble for an old man who let her down.
Mr. Master, I don't think you realize just how much Miss Hall cares for you. I have something here that clearly proves the two of you share an unbreakable bond. An unbreakable bond? I'm gonna save real quick. Because I'd like to get this little bit of flavor text right. Or, you know, flavor evidence, rather. Because it would be sad if I got it wrong. Proof of the bond between Jeffrey Master and Catherine Hall. This should give Mr. Master some peace of mind. The one thing that immediately sort of pops into my brain is the fact that she still had handmade chocolates prepared.
Take that!
These chocolates... Did Kate make them? She did. They're really sweet and tasty. She's been making these chocolates for the past 18 years, so that she could give them to you whenever you returned. Kate... I'm sure they are very, very sweet. Yes, they truly are. Unfortunately, I cannot give them to you now, but...
I can hand them over later in secret, pal.
It is against the rules, but right now I don't have the authority to stop him. Thank you very much. Say, you remind me of an old friend. Do you know of Detective Bad?
Oh, of course I do! Detective Bad is my #1 role model, pal!
How uncanny. Talk about fate. Mr. Master, it's looking like we'll be able to get you out soon. I can only apologize that it took 18 years to do so.
Raymond, I'm the one who should be apologizing. No, that's not it. What I really should be saying is... thank you. Mr. Master, now it's my turn to wait for Kate. I'll make her favorite sweets every day until she returns. Please look after her, Raymond.
You got it. Ah, how sweet. Everyone sharing jail cells.
The IS-7 incident, the case I inherited from my father. After 18 long years, it's finally coming to a close.
Hold it! No. Miles, thanks for today. I am sorry for leaving that final decision to you.
No, I made that decision of my own free will.
What are you talking about? To arrest Gustavia, we had no choice but to use Mr. Master's false charge. To use Mr. Master's false charge, which I was originally supposed to protect him from. The attorney inside of me simply could not do it. So that's how it was. But after this, Uncle Ray is going to try to clear away that false charge as well.
Yes, I understand.
What? But if they find out about the false charge, they won't be able to arrest Mr. Gustavia, right? That's true. Sure is a contradiction in the law. The way the law is right now, it isn't always completely right. A contradiction in the law? Well, who knows what'll happen. The law evolves and grows, just like all of us do. Just like Uncle Ray and Miles have grown up. You know?
People in the law both grow.
I don't know. Law right now seems to be pretty immature if they're not giving the time for each individual case. But whatever. Miles, to fight crime as a prosecutor, or to save people as the defense attorney, I want you to think carefully about how you want to live your life from now on.
I will.
Well, if you ask Uncle Ray, you'll always be welcome down at the office. Alright then. Looks like it's time for Uncle Ray to get going. Next time I see you, I'll be sure to thank you again. Really though. Thanks for today. Ciao. Mr. Shields seemed to be in a bit of a hurry.
Indeed. I should be the one thanking him. I was able to face my father's last case because of him. When I was young, I wanted to become a great defense attorney like my father. However, under Prosecutor von Karma, I learned the ways of a prosecutor. Thanks to a certain friend, I was able to discover my own path in life. However, right now there are forces trying to take me off the prosecutor's path. Maybe now is the perfect time to think about how I should live my life.
Again, come to the defense side. We have cookies. April 2nd, 7:29 p.m. Edgeworth Law Offices. Gregory. I'm sorry that it took so long. It may have taken 18 years. But finally we've proven Mr. Master's innocence. Miles, your son, help me with that. The way he fought for the truth. He was just like you, Gregory. I'm still not the kind of attorney you were, but I will forever carry on the convictions I inherited from you. And if I can, together with him.
To fight crime as a prosecutor, or to save people as a defense attorney. The path I choose is...
going to be seen in the next chapter, which is going to happen next time. Yeah, with all the failures that I ended up doing at the very end there,
It looks 9:22. So yeah, funny enough, this was kind of a full episode with me blundering a bunch. But anyway, so oh my god, that was only Jesus, that was only the third freaking episode. For some reason, I thought I was like at episode 4. I don't know. Like this series has been going on for quite a long time. Like this is a long game. I don't know if there's like a 5th chapter after this. I've noticed they tend to, at least with the Ace Attorney Investigations thing, they tend to do 1 chapter per silhouette. So I have a suspicion that the next, maybe there's going to be another chapter. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I haven't seen how long the game goes, but we've been streaming this game for like 9 or 10 parts. And episode 4 is the Forgotten Turnabout, which appears to have Kay Faraday in the background. Anyways, this has been fun, but I think we're going to leave that off for the next time that I play. So thanks for popping out in the stream to help out, say stuff, make jokes. I appreciate it very much. If you want to take a look at after the stream is done, I'm going to be taking this to a bit of a chopping block and cutting down some of the failures I was doing, and I'll be uploading it to the YouTube channel after that's finished and after I've uploaded everything else, which I'm close to uploading nearly everything. I stream on Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays, all of them starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Some other games I got going on. I have been playing Stardew Valley with Victor Tech Whipley, but I don't think we're going to be doing that this week. We kind of do it just like off and on. Although it's real fun. I don't know. I enjoy just taking a break to do farming. Let's see. Hat in Time mods, I've been doing that as well. Those are pretty fun, and there's a lot of very talented people a part of the mod community for Hat in Time. Of course, I'm doing this entire, well, not a retrospective of Ace Attorney, just because I never really played any of the games. It's more like me finally jumping on the bandwagon after years of, I don't know, being distracted by random nonsense. And then, of course, I've got a couple of other games that I've got lined up. I really want to do a VR stream sometime soon, because I have some VR games that I want to try out on the stream. But we'll see when I finally reach that, when we reach that bridge. Anyway, I'm off. Again, thanks for coming out. See you next time.